see. Oh, we boxing? Yeah, we boxing. I need that belt like it ain't no other option. So we punching and weaving and blocking. Defeat ain't an option. Let them know. Shoot a video, put it on BVO. Let them know. Every time I punch, it's a heavy blow. BVO, bound to hit like bricks cause it was set in stone. Let them know. I ain't getting body, but I'ma hit this flow. Yeah, way more than a show. This is BVO.
What it do? What it do? What it do? Back with another episode. Waiting for BB. Oh, I gotta echo. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, there we go. Let my boy Crush up here. What's going on, Crush? What's going on with you?
Oh, not much, man. How everybody doing? Put my peoples to rest today. Got him in the ground, so he at peace. So I'm alright now, you know. But what's popping, man? We up here on a Friday night, man. Normally we not here on Fridays. Think it's a good night for Fridays. Not really that much going on, and what we cooking on?
I see BBO got in the title that Jerron Boots Ennis is one of the most overrated boxers in the sport. I mean, I don't know
Oh,
where
really?
I don't know where he got that from.
Oh, no wonder I didn't come on here raising Cain because I didn't read the entire message because I would have went off. But we all know that's nonsense. But speaking of boot centers, he got people running scared like the red coats is coming, man. I mean, what is going on, D Free? We starting to see a lot of scary situations. A lot of fighters who people saying don't want to fight nobody and need to do this and need to do that. These young men are being highly avoided, and people is not really speaking much on it. At least not the haters. And of course, they can't right now because they backs is up against the wall. And I got a new word for them: DUCT. Put duct tape on your mouths. I talk too fast and talk too much. They get out here and try to downplay a few fighters and if these fighters make them eat crow just by the way that the fighters that they've been trying to get in the ring with or trying to get in the ring with is reacting. Nobody's saying nothing. They quiet. What's going on, man? I mean, this is a new world order of boxing we living in. Like, try to help me explain what's happening here.
Well, I think you talking about the whole Brian Norman and Jerome Bucenis, and I seen the whole situation. What I think it is, I think it's more so Eddie Hearn playing games because
Mhm.
Brian Norman Jr. and his father, they once they heard the news that Boots said that he turned them down, they turned them down. They made sure that they corrected that, and they came out. They were like, "No, we didn't turn anything down. They gave us an offer. We counter offer because the money that they was offering us was like we're not a champion as well. We fought for our belt. Your belt was awarded to you, and so he was like, we know you're the bigger name. We expect you to get paid more, but you're not going to give us pennies when we have something that you want and you have something that we want." And so he's saying, no, just give us some more money and we'll fight you. He said, we'll even fight in Philly. We ain't gotta we could keep the same date that you trying to fight on, and we'll fight you in your own backyard, but you're not gonna give us this chump change like we're not worth anything. So I think it's more so Eddie Hearn's playing games and instead
Mm,
of that Brian Norman is ducking. I think it's more so Eddie
right.
Hearn. Because I don't see Brian Norman as the type to duck anybody. I don't see Jerome Booth as the type to duck anybody. So I think it's more so Eddie Hearn's playing games. He really don't wanna have to pay out that extra bag by paying Brian Norman more money. Um which it shouldn't be a problem. You got Turkey behind you. You can get up that extra change and pay Brian Norman a respectable amount of money because, like I said, he is a champion, and he has something that Jerron Boots Ennis wants. Jerron said he wants to be undisputed at 47. That's the reason why he's staying at 47. Well, the only way you're gonna get undisputed is by fighting Brian Norman Jr. unless he lose that belt. That's the only way you're gonna be able to get undisputed is by fighting him. So I think it's more so Eddie Hearn's playing games. But I did hear some news. And I'm surprised BVO is not up here because I was expecting him to be up here. I did hear some news from somebody who did duck Brian Norman Jr.
Uh,
And that was his
okay,
boy
who that
Tio.
be? Oh yeah, Tio. T-Ho.
Brian Norman said he offered Tio a fight on the 27th, and Tio turned it down. Was like, "Nah, I'm not fighting you." And it's been known that was the offer. He offered a fight for Tio on September 27th, I believe it was September 27th, or it might have been September 14th. It was one of those 2 days. He offered Tio
Okay.
a fight and took it down. So
Mhm.
I don't know where BBO at, but he might be doing like his one of his favorite fighters and might be ducking the smoke.
Oh, well, of course.
But I don't think.
Of course.
Back to the topic that BVO have up here. I don't think Jerron Boots Ennis is overrated. The only way you can say a fighter is overrated is if you have him on a level that he's not living up to. I don't me
Exactly.
personally, I don't have him on a level that he's not living up to. The level that I have him on so far, he's proven me right because he's beating everybody. And the only way that you could prove that he's not ready for the top level is by him getting in there with the top level and not beating the top level. So
Right.
I can't say that he's overrated because nobody's beaten him yet. Nobody made him look bad in the ring. Even with the fight that everybody said they had questions about Jerron Boots Ennis, he still beat that man 12-0. That man didn't win a
Yeah.
single round in that fight. So I wouldn't say he's overrated. Now, would you believe that he is being overhyped? I mean, that's a possibility. But I mean, can't really say that because nobody's really trying to show him otherwise. I don't see nobody lining up to get in the ring with Jerron Boots. And the only person I've seen that's willing to get in the ring with him is Brian Norman. And all he said was just give me a little bit more money and we'll fight in Philly. We'll
Right.
fight in your backyard.
But shout out to Brian Norman for that, man. He's somebody's willing to get in there with Boots Ennis who's having a hard time with getting a fight because there's simply fighters who don't want to get in there with him. Standing owners don't want to get in there with him. Uh, and half of the upper 147, but Brian Norman Jr., who's been waiting to get his chance, so he's in position now. So he really want to show the naysayers and the people that believe in him that he's really that guy. So I ain't gonna knock him. I want to see everything that he's working with. The kid got potential. I ain't got too much bad to say about him. Just like any other fighter, needs some development here and there, And let's see what he does at 47. Man, I think he's a threat to that entire weight class. But let's really see how good he is when he gets in there with better opposition. But I was really hoping that Tio would jump up to the challenge since this guy wants all the smoke and the respect. But this is how you get it. This guy called you out, saying he'll beat your ass and everything else, take your milk money, your girlfriend, and everything else. And he ain't saying nothing. So like the old James Brown song, talk loud, ain't saying nothing. I'm into guys that's really showing improvement, man. Put them gloves on, lacing them up, and showing us and showing everyone else that they are who they say that they are.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
uh
I think Norman Jr. and Jerron Boots Ennis will be a hell of a fight. You got one guy that's not going to back down from nobody, and then you got another guy who's, in my opinion, is a superior boxer. When you look at their styles, I believe Jerron Boots Ennis is a superior boxer to Brian Norman. And like I said, that's not taking that away from Brian Norman. I think Brian Norman is a good fighter. I don't know what level of fighter he's on just yet. But I
right.
think he's a good fighter. I would give him probably somewhere between uh, um a B minus and a C plus right now because of what I've seen
Hmm.
in the ring so far. I've seen moments where he struggled. I've seen moments where he. I would give him a B minus, a C plus right now, but
Okay.
I do see him getting better, but like I said, right as of right now, he's not on the level of Jerron Booth Ennis, in my opinion. He's not on that level.
Right.
But it still makes for a good fight because he's gonna come at Jerron. He's not gonna shy away from the fight. He's gonna be right
Right.
there, and somebody probably get knocked out in that fight if he catch Jerron with a clean shot, and we'll see if Jerron chin is built like that. But it
Yeah.
also showed that I mean Brian Norman's going to be right there in front of Jerron, and he's going to get hit with a lot of shots because we see Brian Norman, he gets hit with a lot of shots, so he's going to be
Yep.
right there in front of Booth, and it's going to be an action packed fight. I would love to see it. I hope they do make it because I think that's going to be an action packed fight.
And bring it to Philly. God damn it, bring it to Philly. Bring it to Philly, man. I
Yeah,
like the fact that he said, I challenge you in your hometown. I really love that. So that's the main reason why I wanted in Philly. Yeah, that'd be dope, man. That'd be dope. I know he's going to bring everything at Boot Center. So um, that'd be a very interesting fight. I
and,
really want to see how well he fare off in 47.
yeah, and that
Go ahead,
that
Jay.
that'll show where Jerron is at, and that'll show where Brian Norman is at. Because if Brian Norman is able to pull it off and beat Jerron, then people gonna say, okay, Brian Norman is that dude, and maybe Jerron Ennis wasn't what we thought he was. So now that would say, okay, yeah, maybe he is overrated. If he can't get past Brian Norman, maybe he is overrated. So it's going to answer a lot of questions. Me personally, I think Duran is just a superior boxer when it comes to those two fighters. I think Duran is a superior boxer, um, but it doesn't mean that Brian Norman can't go in there and win that fight. He very well can win that fight because
Exactly.
he does have some power, and he has boxing ability. Um, so I mean, I just need them to make that fight because that's one of the fights that Jerron needs in order to be undisputed. They need to make that fight. And I think Eddie Hearn is trying to get this Karen rematch and trying to make some money for the smallest amount of bag that he got to pay out. I think he's trying to build up Jerron Ennis and get as much money off of Jerron Ennis without having to pay so much money out. Because if you think
Right.
about all of the fighters that he had, the only ones that really made money with Eddie Hearn was Devin Haney and AJ. Nobody else really made money with Eddie Hearn. He didn't
Right.
have to give them no big bags like that. So I think he's just trying to make as much money off of Jerron without having to pay out big bags. But
Right.
I don't know where BBO at. He was up here, but he dipped out, so I don't know where he at. But the next thing on the docket, I see this Shakur Stevenson for contract, this deal that he has with Eddie Hearn is looking. At first, they said it was a one fight deal, but it's looking like they're gonna be more than one fight because Eddie Hearn is talking about what's going to happen in the future after this Joe Cordina, and Shakur is talking about what he's planning on doing. He's talking about Williams will pay the next at 2025. So it's looking like it's going to be more than a one fight deal, and if so, I think this might be a bad deal for Shakur because Eddie Hearn only has I mean he don't really have no 135-pound fighter except for Andy Cruz. That's the only 135-pound fighter that he really has, and so you sign with Eddie Hearn to get the money. You saying F the fans. I'm not fighting for y'all no more. I'm fighting for the bag. Is no more fighting for legacy. You fighting for the bag. What bag are you going to get by fighting on the undercard and you fighting Joe Cordina? And I hear people saying that he's supposed to be getting a bag. He said he's getting a bag, but I'm looking at the fact that Bud only got $3 million guaranteed to fight Magnum off. You think they're gonna give you more than they gave Bud, and you're fighting on the undercard, and you fighting against Joe Cordina? I don't think he's gonna get a bag by fighting Joe Cordina on the undercard. I don't think he's getting a bag because if you look at
I
the
don't think so either.
card, you look at the card is not fire. It's not like it's a big card. That the only fight everybody's looking to see is the main event. Arthur versus Bivol. That's the only fight that everybody's looking to see.
Yeah,
They're not
yeah,
worried about the
yeah.
other fight. You got Chris Eubanks Jr. on there. Ain't nobody caring about that fight. You got Fabio on there. Ain't nobody care about that fight. And then you got Shakur Stevenson, and everybody already trashing that fight. So I mean, I don't know if he's going to get a big bag by fighting Joe Cordina. I mean, if he does, so be it. I mean, props to him. But I'm just looking at what happened in the past and how Turkey is moving now. Turkey don't look like he's giving out those bags like everybody think he is.
Nah, he ain't giving them bags out like that, man. And the funny thing, you just said something. Now, what Shakur is saying now, he's just going for a bag and not legacy people. Listen to what I'm about to say. Um, does it come to me? It sounds like that this man is quote unquote sort of like saying, man, you know what? I'm gonna just go get this money. He didn't already said F the fans millions of times. Y'all still support and want to see the fight, want to beat Tank. I can't support nobody and root for anyone like that because he actually meant what he said. Don't think he didn't. But it sounds like he's a retired active fighter because it's like everything that he's trying to do, it ain't happening for whatever reason. I'm not pointing fingers at nobody. I'm just calling it out off of his actions, the way he reacted things. And now this is one of the top skill fighters that we've been talking about that was supposed to be, one of the top fighters, probably on the boxing's um monument right now, on the Mount Rushmore active fighters. And because of the decisions that he had made and the things that he said, listen, you can't expect nobody to be behind you if you're disrespecting the fans. You cannot disrespect the fans. It's always going to bite you on your behind, no matter who you are. Everybody ain't special enough to get a pass. Everybody's trying to be something that they not. Everybody wants to be the villain. Well, everybody don't be a successful villain. So people just need to be themselves. Man got identity crisis. He don't know what he want to do with himself. So he sounds like a active retired fighter. Like, man, I'm just gonna go ahead and get what I can get, and then something wind up happen. If it don't, it don't. It seemed like this kid is not daring to be great.
Yeah, yeah. I,
Simply
I
not.
I never understood how you talk bad about the person or the people that pays your salary because if you saying F the fans, those are the ones that buy the tickets. That's how you get the pay-per-view. If you saying F the fans, now you didn't specify F the casuals or F those fans right there. You said F the fans. I'm not fighting for y'all no more. No, that's everybody. That's your fans. That's the casuals. That's boxing fans. Like we talk
Oh,
bad
fan.
about Tank Davis fights, the fights that he has and all that, and I know Tank Davis hears it, and because his team watches these YouTube channels and stuff like that. So we talk bad about his fights and the opponents that he has chosen in the past, whether he chose them or Floyd or Leonard Ellerby, whatever. However, he got those opponents in the ring. We talk bad about those. Not one time have you ever heard Tank Davis say, "Man, f the fans. I'm not fighting for y'all." Now he did say, "I'm fighting for the money," but he ain't say, "I'm not fighting for y'all." He didn't say "f y'all" because he knows that's where his money come from. It's by the fans watching him. buying those tickets, paying for the pay-per-views. When you start doing that and you start wondering why ain't nobody checking for you, why ain't nobody buying your tickets, why ain't nobody paying for your pay-per-view? Because of those words right there. You cannot put down the people that pays for your salary, because if that's the case, then everybody be saying it. And like I said, you never heard Canelo say "F the fans." You never these money these top money fighters. You never hear them say "F the fans" because they know that's where the money comes from. It comes from the fans. They would say, "Oh, I'm doing this for the fans. I'm doing it for my culture, or whatever have you." So I mean, I just don't understand. I don't know who's in his corner talking to him, but somebody need to let him know, hey, you can't be doing that. We trying to sell you. You're a free agent. Well, not no more, but at the time you're a free agent. We trying to sell you. How can you say after fans if you're a free agent? The fans is what's paying for you. If they not buying your tickets and they not paying for your pay per views, whenever you do go on pay per view, you're not a success. No, I mean it's kind of backwards. You should be trying to draw in the fans. And like I said, this Joe Cordina, whether it was something that he had to take or something he chose himself, or Eddie Hearn just offered him a certain amount of money, say, "Hey, I'm gonna give you this fight. You had this, and then we could set something up later." I don't know, but you don't bounce back from the performance that you had with De Los Santos, and then the performance you had with Artem, and then take a Joe Cordina, somebody who was at the lower weight class, who just came off a knockout loss. I mean, this man was knocked out cold. It wasn't like he was stopped and he was just beat up. No, this man was knocked out cold at a lower weight class, and now he's fighting you, and you sitting there trying to clown Tank Davis by fighting Frank Martin. Well, you just the last person you fought was somebody that Frank Martin already beat. Now you fighting somebody that just came up from 130, who just came off a knockout loss. You got in order to draw the fans in, you gotta either put on a more impressive performance, or you gotta put in a better opposition in order to bring in the fans. You're not bringing in the fans by not putting on a impressive performance and not picking up your opposition. I mean, I don't know who he has in his corner. I don't know if this is one of Jay Prince's move or if it's just all Eddie Hearn. I don't know, but it's not working for him. And I hear a lot of his supporters, a lot of diehard Shakur Stevens supporters. They like, man, I don't even know what to say about this fight. This is a trash fight. I don't know what to say. So when you got your diehard
Trash ass fight.
when you got your diehard saying this about you, dog, it's not a good look.
Nope, not at all.
But it just came out. I just saw this earlier. I think I took a picture of it. It was the I don't have it right now. Hey, I missed it. I don't know where I had it at. But it looked like the so it looks like the card for Canelo Alvarez and Bellinger is all put together now. I believe Laura versus Danny is going to be the co-main, and then
Okay.
they got Caleb Plant on there. I'm not sure who
Ooh.
I'm not sure who his opponent is. They also had let's see, Caleb Plant. It was Laura. I'm trying to. I gotta see if I could find it. It was no, it was a decent card. I'm not even gonna lie. It was a nice card. Now I don't know who the opponents are, but far as the actual card, I'm about to see. I want to see who Caleb Plant opponent is, because I know the opponent that he had for August 12th. That's the reason why that card got canceled, because his opponent got hurt, and they had to reschedule his fight. So I want to see who his opponent is.
Right.
Um, I'm about to pull it up right now. Hold on one second. But yeah, they got Caleb Plant on that card. They got Laura versus Danny. Um, when is that? For September. Here you go, right here. All right. So yeah, Laura versus Danny. Caleb Plant versus McCumbee. McCumbee. I don't know who that is. They got Rolly on this card,
Oh
and
yeah,
they got
the return of Rolly.
Cool Boy on this card. Cool Boy versus Cash.
Hmm.
So I mean, I don't know. I don't the Rolly fight. I don't know too much about his opponent.
Right.
But I'm eager to see how Cool Boy look coming off that loss with Monster Inouye. Castro is a pretty decent fighter. I've seen him fight like once or twice. He's pretty decent. He's 30-2. They the
Okay.
same age, they the same height, and but Castro has a 4-inch reach advantage. Um, Castro 30-2 with 14 knockouts, two losses. One of his losses was by stoppage. Of course, Cool Boy is 21-1, 8 knockouts. One of his losses. The only loss that he has was by stoppage. So it's gonna be an interesting fight. I think both these guys is going to come to fight. I'm eager to see what Cool Boy looks like coming off that loss because he's been out of the ring. It's been a little more than a year now. It's been a little more than a year now,
Yeah.
so I'm eager to see what it looks like. What you think about that
Oh
card?
yeah. That sounds like an exciting card, and once we find out who the opponents are, it should be a good one. I can't wait to see this fight. The return of Cool Boy, that is one of the most interesting things on the card, and it's an exciting card because you got so many good fighters on here. But we got to see how how he's going to look in his return. Uh, the loss of the monster didn't take a lot out. Go ahead, real quick, D free. I'm gonna take a pause real quick, or it ain't cook.
Go ahead. Yeah, yeah. I think I want to see how Cool Boy look because yeah, he took a nasty loss. He got knocked out. Um, and then he's been out of the ring for a little more than a year. So I want to see if he still has that confidence that he had prior to the Monster Inouye fight because Cool Boy was the hottest thing smoking at 122 pounds until he got in there with Monster. And I still think he should have never went to Japan. He should have made Monster come over here and fight him. He was the champion. Monster was moving up. Now, yeah, he got a nice payday out of it, but you still you gave away your A side, far as the champion and all that. Now, people say, well, in Japan, Monster is the A side. Yeah, in Japan, Monster is the A side, but that doesn't mean that Cool Boy wasn't the A side over here. Because most people don't even watch Monster in the way fight because he's fighting at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and most people hasn't seen him fight. They might catch it on the replay, but they haven't seen him fight live. So but I want to see the Laura versus Danny. I'm intrigued. I believe Laura is going to stop Danny. Um, Danny's never been stopped. Danny's been out the ring for 2 years now, a little more, almost. No, actually, December it will be 2 years. So it's almost 2 years. He fought the last time he fought was in no, it's been over 2 years because he fought Earl 2020 in December. He fought what's the guy name Jose Benavidez. He fought him. I believe it was the spring or it might have been the summer of 2022. So yeah, Laura been out of the ring for a while. I'm sorry, Danny been out of the ring for a while. Laura just had a fight not too long ago, which he got another stoppage again. And that's the thing about Laura. Since he's gotten older, he's been sitting down on his punches a lot more. He's not that fighter that we saw when he fought against Canelo and those other guys at 60 where he was bouncing around the ring. He's more so sitting down on his punches now, and he's getting a lot of knockouts by him doing that. We never seen Danny get knocked out. I don't know if Danny's ever been dropped. I can't recall if Danny's been dropped or not, but I know he's never been stopped. So I'm gonna see if Danny can stand up to Laura. So far, the last couple of opponents that Laura's been in the ring with, they haven't been able to stand in the ring and go the distance. So one of my boys, prize fighter, believe that Danny's gonna go the distance. He think Laura's gonna win, but he thinks Danny's gonna go the distance. I don't think Danny's gonna make it the distance. I mean, you got that 2 year layoff, and then you moving up in weight. You only fought one time at 54. You had a fight against Jose Benavidez at 54, and now you're moving up to 60, and you get in there with somebody who seems like as they got older, they got stronger because they've been sitting down on their punches. There's no more pot shots for Laura. He's sitting down and getting people up out of there. Um, Caleb Plant is coming back. I believe this is his first fight since David Benavidez, if I'm not mistaken. I believe this is his first fight since David Benavidez. I want to see what he look like. See if they worked on that gas tank issue that he has. Um, he seems to always gas out in his later fight. Now his opponent that he's facing, McCumbie, I don't know not too much about him. Never seen him before. Um, let me pull up this fight and see. His opponent is 28-0. He's 31 years old. Caleb Plant is 32. Caleb Plant got a 1 inch height advantage. Caleb Plant is 6'1". His opponent is 6 foot. They got the same exact reach, 74 inches. Um, like I said, his opponent is 28-0 with 21 knockouts. So he's a big puncher. Caleb Plant is 22-2 with 13 knockouts. So I mean, we're gonna have to see. Caleb Plant been stopped once, which was by Canelo Alvarez. We're gonna see how good this opponent is. I never seen him fight before, but according to his stats, he's a big puncher. He's 28-0 with 21 knockouts. According to his stats, he's a big puncher, but we got to see the level of opponents that he fought. I don't know what level of opponents he fought because I don't know who he is. Never seen him before. But I'm eager to see what Caleb Plant looks like. Is he going to be the old Caleb Plant that boxes around the ring and outboxes opponent, or is he going to be the Caleb Plant that we saw versus Canelo and versus um, David Benavidez, where he tried to stay away from the bigger puncher and then he ended up getting himself tired out. So it's going to be intriguing. I'm excited to see what he looks like. This it looked like it's going to be a decent card. At first, I was skeptical about the card. I still believe the Canelo versus Belinga is a trash fight. I don't believe Belinga belongs in the ring with Canelo. Not at this point yet. He hasn't proven himself to be in the ring with Canelo, and I know this is more so a money grab for Canelo. Is a big opportunity for Belinga because Belinga has everything to gain, nothing to lose. Because everybody expect Belinga to lose, for the most part. Most people expect Belinga to lose. Of course, you got Belinga fans that think Belinga could possibly catch Canelo with a lucky punch. But if you watch Belinga his last couple of fights, the last one, he looked impressive. He was supposed to look impressive against that dude. That was a fight to make him look better. Um, but if you watch the last couple of fights, um, Belinga is not that dude. He's not that dude to beat Canelo Alvarez. The only way he beats Canelo Alvarez is by landing a lucky shot. And Canelo Alvarez has a beard. I don't think even if he lands that lucky shot, I don't think he stops Canelo Alvarez. I know he's not going to beat Canelo Alvarez on the card, and I don't think he stops Canelo. That's the one thing that we do know that Canelo has. If he doesn't have anything else, we do know he has a beard. And so I don't think he stops Canelo Alvarez, and I believe that's the only way he beats him. So we're gonna see what that fight end up being like once they happen on September 14th. But it looked like they got a good card though. PBC as of late been putting on decent cards. They ain't been the best of cards, but they damn sure ain't been trash cards. Like this card with Arthur versus Bivol. This card is not that impressive. Um, it's okay. I mean, like I said, it's not really many fights on here that I'm checking this for. You got Ben Whitaker on here. Most people don't know who he is. I mean, if you've been watching Instagram, you've seen some of his highlights on Instagram and stuff like that on YouTube. But most people don't know who Ben Whitaker is. You got Fabio on there. You got Chris Eubanks Jr. and you got Shakur Stevenson on there. Like I said, we already talked about the Shakur Stevenson fight. Most people don't care to see that fight at all. Chris Eubanks Jr. He's fighting against Camille. I don't know who this dude is. Uh, Fabio is fighting against Frazier Clark. Don't know who that is. Now they do have the cruiserweight sensation Zhao on there. Zhao Opata. He's on there. I do like to see him fight because he definitely brings it every time he fights. So I mean, it's okay. It's not what you would expect for it to be. I would hope that Shakur would have had a better opponent. Um, Ben Whitaker, I mean, I expect him to go in there and stop this dude. I don't know who this dude is. Ben Whitaker, he's a good fighter. I still think he need to be tested. He does a lot of dancing around in the ring and showboating, but he can do that with the level of opponents that he's in there with. He hasn't been in there with any level of opponents that's going to push him. So maybe he get caught with something big by playing around. We don't know. You have to see the fight. That's the only way you know what's going to happen or the outcome is by them getting in the ring because anything can happen in the sport of boxing. We didn't see people that we believe was going to win and go out there and get beat, get stopped. So I mean, it is what it is. But we got a couple of more. I believe this fight is on October 12th. Yeah, October 12th. That fight is. Um, then we got the Canelo Alvarez on September 14th. Which is about 2 weeks away, a little more than 2 weeks away. I'm trying to think. The only fight that they got coming up tomorrow is Floyd. I don't care to see that fight. I'm not watching Floyd in no exhibition fight. So I won't be watching that. I haven't watched none of his exhibition fights because I don't pay to see exhibitions. I want to see actual fights. It's not going on his record. If you want to get in there and fight, get in there and fight. You going in there and fighting guys, you know you're going to beat up. Not near one of these guys Floyd had fought in exhibition that anybody say, oh, you know what, this guy might beat Floyd. Not near one of them. So he's about to fight John Gotti again. And we're going to see if John Gotti going to have the same problems he had last time and they start a whole brawl in there. We're going to see what happens. But yeah. Other than that, I mean, like I said, back to the Jerome Boots Ennis and Brian Norman. They definitely need to make that fight. I want to see that fight. I want to know what happened to T.O. being that dude because it looked like he tucked his tail and ran when Brian Norman said, "Okay, let's make this fight." It looked like he tucked his tail and ran because Brian Norman said we offered him the fight September 27th, and that man turned it down. T.O. ain't got no fight coming up. Brian Norman Jr. ain't got no fight coming up. So BVO, your boy ain't that dude. He ain't that dude. You were claiming that he's the pretty boy Floyd. He wants to fight everybody. He ain't that dude. That man tucked his tail and ran. So but in other news, Devin Haney's supposed to be making his return. They were saying BBO has said something about he was supposed to be on this card for October 12th. That's not going to happen. He's not fighting on that card. Whatever I think they wanted a 2-fight deal with Devin Haney, and Devin Haney was like, "Nah, we're not getting a 2-fight deal. You'll get 1 fight, and then that's it." But so that fight is not happening. I don't know who the opponent was supposed to be. It wasn't Mario Barrio, so I don't know who the opponent was supposed to be, but whoever it was supposed to be, it's not going through. So we're going to see who Devin Haney steps in the ring with. He said he's supposed to be coming back for December. So we're going to see who he's fighting in December. But other than that, I don't really have nothing else unless any of y'all might have something to talk about. I don't know what happened to BVO. My man Crush got a phone call. He stepped out. Prize is out having a good time with his family and kids. But that's pretty much all I got on it. BBL be coming up here with these crazy titles. Is Jerron Boots Ennis overrated? Oh, that man, you can't unless you are unless you rate that man high, unless you rate that man on a level above Crawford, you rating him on the level of the top of the boxing world. Um, then yeah, if you rating him that high and he hasn't been in there with anybody to show that he's on that level, then I would say yeah, he is overrated. But I don't rate them that high. I rate him as the best at 47. I believe he's the best at 47. That's about as far as I'm going because that's the only weight class he's fought at. I can't say what he do at 54. I say what I believe he can do at 54, but I can't say what he's going to do at 54. He's never fought there. I don't know what his body's going to be like at 54. I don't know what his body going to be like at 60. So I don't rate these guys and jump out the window when I'm rating these guys. I go by what I see and what I believe that they doing at that weight class. What they look like at the next weight class, I have to see what they look like. That's why I say I don't know. I don't know how the power translate to that weight class. I don't know how they handle that weight when they get to that weight class. I have to see them at that weight class because in the sport of boxing, yeah, you could do something at one weight class and people say, oh, it's just 7 pounds. 7 pounds is a lot of weight. Your body is conditioned to carry a certain amount of weight for 12 rounds. And you train your body for however long you in training camp for that fight. You train your body to carry a certain amount of weight for 12 rounds. You add more weight, you have to train your body for that more the bigger weight because now the more weight you add, the more it takes away from your endurance. That's why you don't see guys going from 54 straight to light heavyweight because they know it's too much weight. If it can do that, we wouldn't say it's weight class for a reason. We wouldn't say it's weight class for a reason. It just would be a free fall. But no, you got to train your body to be at that bigger weight. So I wouldn't say he's overrated in my opinion because I don't rate him that high. I don't know what everybody else do. However, everybody else rate him, that's how they rate him. I don't rate him higher than 147. I'm looking at what I see at 147. I don't know what he'll do at 54 because he hasn't fought at 54. Now, yeah, he came in over the 47-pound weight when he first came in, but he hasn't fought at 54. So I don't know what he'll be like at 54. Hold on, BBO, I got you. Hold on one second. Come on, there we go. All right, there you go. But yeah, I don't know what he'll be like at those higher weight classes. But I believe Jerron Ennis is the best at 47. Until somebody is willing to get in the ring and they beat him, I believe he's the best at 47. Now we got Brian Norman who's willing to get in the ring. Stanley Onis already ducked him. Mario Barrio already ducked him. But Brian Norman is willing to get in the ring. I hope Eddie Hearn go ahead and pay that man some more money and let this get this fight on because I believe that'll be a hell of a fight. Brian Norman versus Jerron Ennis. I believe it's a hell of a fight. Brian Norman is 23 years old. Jerron is 26. These gonna be a decent fight. He said Cap. I don't know what he's saying, Cap. Dog, T.O. already ducked Brian Norman. He ain't getting in there with no boots. He just ducked Brian Norman. Oh, you must didn't hear what I was talking about earlier. Brian Norman said they sent him an offer for September 27th, and T.O. turned it down. So I don't know where you been at, but you need to go check your boy. Your boy already ducked Brian Norman. He ain't getting in there with no boots. If he ain't getting in there with Brian, he ain't getting in there with boots. What's going on, Bentley? I don't know. To ain't built like that. I keep trying to tell you, To's not built like that. You keep saying he is. Well, that man just showed you once again he's not. But yeah. So yeah, when me, I'm realistic when I rate these guys. And like I said, I understand all these fighters they have fans, and some of these fans want to believe that they the best in the world or whatever, whatever. But I he said Brian came out of I wouldn't say he came out of left field because he's the WBO champion. I mean, he beat the last dude to become the interim champion. Bud dropped the title at 47. Now he's the champion. Brian Norman, he's a decent fighter. I ain't gonna say he's the best in the world. I ain't gonna say he's the worst. He's a decent fighter. He's definitely gonna be there to fight. He's gonna push whoever you put in the ring. He's gonna take punches and he's gonna throw punches. He's a decent fighter. But Brian's he said he's willing to step in the ring. Like I said, Jerron Boots they did give him an offer and he counter offer. And he said, "Nah, I'm a champion too. I have something that you want. You're not gonna give me chump change. Give me a respectable amount of money, and we can fight. And we'll do it in Philly. We ain't got to change the date. We ain't got to change the location. We'll do it in Philly. But just give me a respectable amount of money. I know you're the A side, but I'm a champion as well." He said, "But it wasn't nobody on the radar. But I'm gonna do my research and look at some fight." No, I mean Brian Norman. When I saw Brian Norman, I started watching Brian Norman when he was talking about how he sparred Tank, and he was saying what he did with Tank and sparring, and I was like, hey, this is another one talking about what they did to Tank and sparring, and then I started watching him because at first he wasn't being televised like that. He was fighting in Atlanta, and his fight wasn't being televised like that. When I got a chance to see him on camera, I was like, okay, he's a decent dude. I don't see what he's talking about as far as what he said he was doing to Tank. I don't see what he's talking about, but he's a bigger dude. I mean, he probably was pushing Tank around in the ring or whatever. He's a bigger dude, but Brian Norman he's a decent fighter. He's not bad. He just me personally, I think his defense is not that great. Like with somebody like a Jerome Boots Ennis, he's gonna get hit a lot. Now, can he stand up to Jerron Power? We'll see. We'll see if his chin built like that. Now he does have some power himself. Will he be able to land that shot on Jerron? We'll see. That's why I want to see this make that fight because I think he's going to push Jerron. I think Jerron is much better as far as a fighter. I think he's much better, but I believe he's going to push Jerron. I don't think he's going to be like these other guys and be trying to be on a bike and running around the ring. I think he's going to come at Jerron and be right there. Um, so it makes for a very interesting fight. I want to see it because I believe Jerron wins, but who knows? Brian might be that dude, and he might just have Jerron's number. I don't know. I think Jerron wins though, but who knows? We won't know until they get in the ring. We can believe what we want to believe. The only facts is what actually happens, and we won't know that until they get in the ring. But yeah, I don't overrate these guys. I go by what I see them do in the ring and at the weight class they at. I'm not one of those ones to say, oh, this guy goes up here, he beats everybody at this weight class because of what he did at a lower weight class. Nah, the same thing with Bud. I knew Bud was a hell of a fighter, but what you did at 140 doesn't give you a pass at 147. You got to go out there and beat those guys at 147. I'm not just going to say, oh yeah, he beats everybody 147, and you haven't fought nobody at 47. No, you got to go and get in the ring and fight those dudes. I mean, if that's the case, then don't nobody need to fight nobody. They just move to the next weight class and say, "Hey, I was a champion down there, so everything I did down there translate up here. I ain't got to fight none of these other guys. I go straight for the champions." Nah, you got to fight those guys too, because just because you did it at a lower weight class doesn't mean you can do it at that weight class. So, I mean, it just I just got to see how these guys is, and I be more realistic than a lot of these other fans and other supporters are. I'm a little more realistic. I'm gonna keep it 100 as much as I can. I'm not trying to sugarcoat nobody. I mean, even when they asked me about Antoine, they were like, "What you think about Antoine last performance?" I said he didn't do well. He didn't do well. He didn't box like he's supposed to have boxed. You said you can box. You should have boxed. You should have outboxed him. And so I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it for nobody. So if I can be 100% real with somebody who I know, I could be 100% real with somebody who I don't know. I don't know these fighters. I don't owe these fighters nothing. So I'm not gonna sit here and hide nothing how I feel about it. So I don't see Jerron as the best fighter in the world, but I do think he's a very good fighter. And I don't think he's overrated according to the way I rate him. I can't speak for everybody else. So BVO might be rating him higher than what he really is, and so BVO say, "Oh, he's overrated." I mean, well, you shouldn't be rating him that high because he ain't do nothing in those other weight classes for you to rate him that high. You got to go according to what you see on film and the level of opponents that he's been in there with. I don't, I don't recall no opponents that he's been in the ring with ever went around. So to say he's overrated, according to the opponents that he faced, he's not. He's not overrated according to the opponents he faced. He never lost a round. And you could, if you could tell me a round that he lost in any one of his fights, let me see it because I don't recall him ever losing a round in none of the fights that he had. So I wouldn't say he's overrated, but you also got to look at the level of opponents that he fought. Now, not to say that he's not trying to get better opponents. These guys don't seem to want to get in the ring with him. But that's not his fault. That's not a knock on him. That's more so a knock on them. They don't want to prove that he's overrated, like BVO want to call him. They don't want to prove it. You talking about T.O. and Jerron Boosin is the best fight. No, it's not. T.O. hasn't even fought at 47. The man ducked who a lot of people believe is not the best champion at 47. Now, me personally, I think he's probably number 3. I will put Brian Norman over Mario Barrio. I think it's probably Jerron Businis and Stanionis if he gets that title from Bud, and then Brian Norman and then Mario Barrio. What's going on, Kareem? That's what I believe. But BVO be on some hating. He be hating on Jerron. I don't know why. Jerron ain't do nothing but beat up everybody he got in the ring with. I mean, he ain't fought nobody. Ain't nobody getting in the ring with him. Can't fault the man if nobody want to get in the ring with him. Now, that's why I said they gotta make this fight. Cause you can't say nobody want to get in the ring with you. And this man said he wants to get in the ring with you. He said, I'm willing to get in the ring with you. Just pay me a little bit more. You can't overlook that fight. Now, I'm not saying that it's Jerron. I think it's more so Eddie. I don't think that's on Jerron. I think that's more so Eddie. I think Eddie's trying to put it out there like they offered Brian Norman and they turned it down. Brian Norman said, "Nah, we didn't turn down nothing. We came up with a counter offer because the money you was offering was pennies." So I don't think it's Jerron turning down the fight. I think it's more so. I mean, avoiding the fight. I think it's more so Eddie. But Jerron, if you listening and you heard what Brian Norman Jr. and Brian Norman Sr. said, you need to be at Eddie. Be like, hey Eddie, what's going on, man? You gotta give me that fight. I said I want to be undisputed. He got one of the belts that I want. You got to give me that fight. That man want a little bit more money. Give him a little bit more money. Give me that fight. I want to be undisputed. Give me that fight. Forget this Kern. I already beat Kern. I 12 zipped him. I don't need that fight. I need this fight. This is the fight that I need. Everybody said I hasn't fought nobody. Well, Brian Norman is another dude that a lot of people starting to look at. So let me go knock him off real quick and get that belt from him. So yeah, he gotta step to Eddie and say, Eddie, you gotta make this fight, dog. You gotta make this fight. I signed over here because you said you were gonna give me the big fights. Well, this is a fight that I need to get. You gotta give me that fight. But if Eddie's not doing that, then you might have to look at how many fights you got left on that deal and say, okay, once these you don't say it publicly, say it behind closed doors when there can't nobody here, because Eddie one of those dudes that will definitely he will railroad you. If Eddie's not trying to give you that fight, you need to be looking at your contract. You say, okay, I got 4 more fights. Okay, after these 4 fights, I'm not signing back up with this dude. But you can't say that shit publicly. You got to keep that behind closed doors because he will railroad you and prolong those next couple of fights that you got with him and make those the longest fights you ever had in your life. You'll be holding on to 3 fights for like the next 5, 10 years. What's going to crush you back?
Yeah, I'm back, bro. I'm back, man. I had a phone call, man. Folks is calling from overseas. So I had to talk to my nephew. He over in Thailand. Um, he's in the Air Force, so he's over in Thailand right now, man. And he could be home for
Oh,
the
okay, okay.
funeral, so yeah, so he's doing good, man. But yeah, man. Uh, I don't know what to say about the kid. Shakur has just put himself in a bad position, man. Should have tried to get himself out of the situation long time
Yeah, yeah.
ago.
I
Long
mean,
time ago.
I don't know. Everybody was saying Shakur don't want to tie down to a long contract. Well, it's looking like it's going to be a multi-fight there. At first, they were saying 1 fight, but the way Shakur is talking and the way Eddie is talking, it looks like it's going to be a multi-fight deal. It's looking like a
Yeah.
multi-fight deal, and that might be a bad look for Shakur because Eddie don't have nobody. You gonna go fight Andy Cruz? You gonna fight Andy Cruz? I mean, Andy Cruz is moving up in the division. They trying to put him on a fast track because he's a 2-time Olympic gold medalist. But I mean, you might go in there and get beat by Andy Cruz. And
Right. That'd be messed up, man. He going in and get beat by Andy Cruz, which is something I've been saying.
hey, I know
But these
everybody
guys
say,
gonna mess around.
yeah, I know everybody say Shakur can fight, and he's one of the best defensive fighters since Floyd. But Andy Cruz can fight too. And like I said, a lot of people were saying Andy Cruz don't have no power. Well, the last 2 dudes, he stopped. He stopped his last 2 opponents. So I mean, I don't know about this man with no power and all this. I don't know what Keyshawn was talking about. Maybe he was just doing that because he knew it was the Olympics. I don't know. But the last 2 dudes he fought, he stopped. And Andy Cruz can box. So I mean, I ain't saying that Shakur will lose to him, but it's a possibility. It's boxing. Anything can happen. We've seen people get robbed. We've seen people get stopped by lesser opponents. So anything can happen.
That is true.
And
Anything can happen.
Andy Cruz signed to a long term deal with Eddie Hearn. You're not. So we know how them dudes be sometimes. The fix will be in and you'll think everything is on the up and up. And you get there and thinking, okay, I won this joint. I won this fight. And you hit his daggone scorecards, you be like, huh? When you be back looking like you was at the Olympics sitting in the ring crying. So I don't know. I mean, this this I don't know if this is a good look for Shakur. I don't know if this is a good look for him. But this not
I
what you
don't
want.
know, man.
I
Think
don't
it
know.
was a
I
bad
mean,
move by the kid.
like I've been saying for a while now, more people I've never seen so many undefeated fighters at the top of the division in my entire life since I've been watching boxing, which has been 40 years now. It's been a little bit more than 40 years I've been watching boxing. I've never seen so many undefeated fighters at the top of the division. I ain't talking about guys coming up and they fought a bunch of prospects and they was undefeated. I'm talking about guys who we believe are the top of the division. And these guys are undefeated. I'm like, dang, there's a lot of guys undefeated at the top of the division. Why they not fighting each other? So
Right.
I mean, more people is worried about saving that O instead of getting in there. They don't want to prove that they're the best. Some do. I ain't gonna say all of them. Some do, but some of them don't want to prove that they're the best. They worried about that almighty dollar, which is not bad. I mean, that's what it is. Let the fans know that's what it's about. Like Tank Davis said, "Now, I'm here. I'm here to get the biggest bag. I'm here to get the biggest bag."
Ain't nothing wrong with getting the bag.
Yeah,
It's just how you go about it. Ain't wrong with getting the bag. It's
right.
all about how you go about it. And Cake is going about it in a good way, as far as I'm concerned. You know, like you said, we
He said,
talked about opponents that we fought, but we never had to talk about his performance against those opponents. That makes a big difference.
who you
You know,
who you think started that? I believe who actually started that, chasing the bag instead of chasing the best competition. And I know a lot of people say it was Floyd. I don't think it was Floyd. I think it was
it wasn't
Canelo.
Floyd.
I think Canelo started that. Canelo was going out here fighting these guys that was not on his level, fighting guys that was past their prime and getting these bags. I think Canelo started that. I don't think it was Floyd. I don't think it was with Tank. I don't think it was none of them. I think it was Canelo that started that. Canelo took that first loss to Floyd. He's like, nah, I'm not getting here with these top level guys no more. He thought Floyd was over the hill. He didn't realize Floyd was ranked number one for a reason. And ever since
Hmm.
he was fighting a lot of guys that was over the hill or that wasn't on his level. I think Canelo started that.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it
so
was
I mean,
Canelo,
yeah, these
man.
guys just gotta get in there and mix it up. I mean, boxing would be great. Boxing would be back where it need to be, and everybody be making money if these guys get in there and mix it up with each other. I mean,
Hmm.
everybody wants to get the bag and keep the O. They want the bag and keep the O. Nah, Floyd was fighting everybody in their prime. He wasn't fighting those guys outside of their prime. They was in their prime when he fought them. They was in their prime, and the guys that he didn't get outside of Winky, the guys that he didn't get, they didn't want him. They didn't want to
Right,
fight Floyd. Remember, Floyd was trying to fight Shane Mosley years ago. Shane Mosley was the one that was didn't want to take the drug test. Manny Pacquiao didn't want
right.
to take the drug test. Well, actually, Shane Mosley, it wasn't the drug test. Shane Mosley said he had a toothache and he didn't want to fight Floyd.
Hmm.
He like, man, I got a toothache. Go fight this other dude first, and then we'll think about fighting you next. So Shane Mosley didn't want no
Damn,
smoke
too
with
big.
Floyd earlier in his career. Manny
Yep, that
Pacquiao
especially
didn't
at
want to take the
130.
test. Yeah, I think that was like 135. I think that was like 135. Floyd wanted to get in there with Shane Mosley. I believe it was before they got to 47. I believe it was before then. But Shane Mosley didn't want that smoke. So nah, Floyd was fighting top level opponents and was getting the bag. He fought Oscar De La Hoya when Oscar was on top. He didn't fight Oscar outside the prime. He fought Oscar when Oscar was still on top. So
Right,
I mean, Floyd was fighting top quality opponents. Now you might not like when he fought him because it looked like he was moving strategically, and he very well could have been. But they was in their prime when Floyd fought him. They wasn't over the hill. So
right.
I don't think Floyd did that. I think it was more so Canelo. And you gotta remember Floyd was older than those guys. Floyd is older than Manny Pacquiao. Now I don't know if he's
Hmm.
older than Shane. I don't know if he's older than Shane, but he was older than Manny Pacquiao, and he wanted to fight Shane
No,
earlier.
Shane older than Floyd.
Yeah, so Shane is older than Floyd, but Floyd wanted to fight him earlier. Um,
Yeah,
Zab Judah could have fought Floyd years ago. Zab Judah lost. Zab
yep.
Judah lost, and that fight never happened earlier. But then it did happen. Zab Judah wasn't over the hill when it did happen. He wasn't over the hill. He was still a good fighter at that time. Yeah, I mean Manny Pacquiao's explosiveness did have people tuned in, but it might have been his explosiveness might have been because he was juicing. Might have been because he was juicing. So I mean, we would
He
never
looked
know.
little motherfucker with juice.
We would
That
never
boy was
know.
blood dosing like a man.
I do know what he looked like when he got in there with Floyd. He didn't look like none of that that he looked when he fought against those other guys. He didn't look like none of that. That wasn't Manny Pacquiao that I see. I look like Manny Pacquiao that ain't had nothing in the system. So I don't know, but yeah, I mean, if these guys get in there and mix it up, I think the sport will be back to where it was in the early '90s, the late '80s. I think it'll be back to those times. Um, but I don't think we ever going to get there. I don't think we ever going to get there. I
Right.
know I know Turkey was trying to do that, but he realized, nah, you can't just throw money at these fighters and think that they're going to jump in there. Some of these fighters are not built like that. They're not built like that. Yeah, they want the money, but some of these fighters like, nah, I'm not getting there with him. I know what he can do. Nah, not doing it. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we will ever get back there.
Right.
Yeah. The fans definitely made it worse on it. Yeah, I think that's another thing too. The social media days. Ever since social media came around, it's been a whole lot of different because we didn't know everything that we know now prior to social media. Like social media opened up the
Right.
door for a lot of stuff. We're able to find out what these fighters are getting paid, and we're able to talk to these fighters even though we don't see them in person. We're able to talk to them on social media. We're able to do interviews with them on YouTube and stuff like that. And I think that 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 gave the fans more of it made fans more biased towards certain fighters because they was able to talk to him. Oh, I like this. He's the best because I get to talk to him. He's more down to earth. That has nothing to do with skills. His skill that you liking him because he talked to you doesn't translate in the ring. What's going on, Piero? It doesn't translate in the ring. Fans made it say,
Right.
why do boxers get mentally depressed? Uh, Shakur, for example, his last tweet was foul. No, I never in my life seen so many people with mental health issues in the sport of boxing. I think people using that for excuse. I think they're using it for excuse. They know people. They know that it's a real thing, and people is going to be sensitive about it, and they're not gonna really get on you about it because they don't know if you're telling the truth or you're not. So I think a lot of fighters use that for excuse. Not saying that some of them have it and some of them don't. I'm just saying I believe a lot of them use that for excuse. I believe that's that mentality where you're not built like that. You really soft, and so you want to use mental depression and health is. I mean, mentally health issues. That the reason why you doing. No, you was talking and somebody pulled your card, and you not built like that. That's what I believe it is because I've never seen so many people with mental health issues in the sport of boxing in my life. I never seen it. I mean, it very well could be because they making so much money and then they lose that money so quick, and it could yeah, that could be a reason. It could be that too, but it's a lot of stuff that I'm like, man, I don't understand. He said, you said it right. The bias got worse too. It's okay to be biased towards your favorite fighter, but you always got to be objective too. Yeah, I mean, like I said, that's the main reason why I don't have a favorite fighter. I don't have a favorite fighter because I know how I am. I can be biased towards a fighter. When I was a Sugar Ray Leonard and a Roy Jones fan, it wasn't nothing you could tell me about Sugar Ray Leonard and Roy Jones. I I believe they was the best, and it was nobody touching them. It was nothing you could tell me about them because that's how I am as a fan of a fighter or a fan of a sport or a team or whatever. That's how I am. So that's why when I got into the sport of boxing and those guys had retired, I was like, dog, I can't be a fan of these fighters. I can be supporters, but I can't have a favorite fighter. I can't have a favorite fighter because I know how I am. I'm not going to be 100% honest when I know a person is moving wrong. I'm not gonna want to call him out because that's my favorite fighter. I'm not gonna want to call him out because it looked like I'm talking bad about my favorite fighter. So that's why I was like, nah, I can't do it. I don't have a favorite fighter. I could be 100% on every last fighter. And like I always said, if I did, it would be one of the Russells. And I have no problem talking about the Russells when they moving wrong or they moving right. I have no problem talking about it. So I mean, we did this couple of months ago. Me and Crush, we was on my brother Clarence show, and he was like fighters
Right.
that got to do something this year or they got to go. And I said, I know people gonna say something about what I'm about to say, but Antoine, he got to do something. He got to do something. He don't do something. No, you wasting your talent. You got to do something. And they were like, whoa, you talking about Antoine? Yes, dog. Antoine, you got to do something. I'm not gonna bite my tongue for nobody. I don't care who you are. I'm gonna keep it a hundred for you. If I don't, then I'm
Hmm.
saying just like everybody else that I talk about. But yeah, I mean, social media made it bad for a lot of fighters. It made it bad for a lot of fighters. They feel like they can go on social media and talk and say whatever they want to say, and can't don't nobody need to hold it against them. Nah, see what a lot of people get mixed up. Yeah, we do have freedom of speech, but you also got to remember that freedom of speech come with responsibility. So when you say something, you got to stand on it. That stuff is out there in the atmosphere. You can't pull it back. You said it. You can't pull it back. So when you say something, you got to be willing to stand on it. But all these
Facts.
rights, that we all talking about. Oh, I got right to do this. I got right to do that. Yeah, all of those rights come with responsibility. You got to be responsible about what you're saying and what you're doing, because there's always people watching. There's always people listening. But what you got on the Crush?
Hey, I feel the same way, man. Spiders got to do something, man. They gotta be accountable for everything that they saying, what they doing inside, definitely outside the ring too, because that's playing a part because of social media. People is interested in everything besides what you actually do in the ring. So they looking for how you carry yourself outside the ring. So that's important. That's in any sport, because these people hold these athletes and these entertainers to such a high regard that it's like, okay, this is my hero, my role model. But these fighters have to do what they need to do, respect the fans. We are the reason why they get to buy these things that they have. We are the reason why they live better than we do.
Hmm.
Because we constantly supporting them. So they should be respectful, mindful of the fans. But we have to be respectful too, also at the same time, man. But
Yeah. But yeah, that's all we got for today. The Rise podcast is on. I know BVO and everybody's gonna go over there and check them out. Make sure y'all check them out. Um, we'll be back on Monday. I don't think we're doing anything tomorrow. If so, we'll definitely put it out there for everybody to know that we'll be back tomorrow. But I don't think we're doing anything tomorrow because there's not really no fights going on. It's just the Floyd fight, and I'm not even watching that
yeah,
fight.
I ain't
So
watching that, man. I'll be at the community event tomorrow. We got they do an end of summer back to school event every summer. The councilman around here, so we have Maya coming with her fine self. Um, Kwame from back in the day, and for the R&B lovers out there, they got Silk coming, which is gonna be very entertaining. I'll
yeah,
probably do some coverage of it. Yeah, so that's what I'll
now
be
that,
doing
that
tomorrow.
that's that's one of those. Maya is one of those R&B singers that I'm biased for because I went to school with her.
Yeah.
Me and Maya went to
Oh,
school
you
together,
did?
so
Oh, that's
yeah, I knew
dope,
her
man. That's
personally.
dope.
I don't know her now since she became a celebrity, but I
Right,
knew her personally right when she
right.
started singing. She used to do talent shows at our school, so I knew her personally. But
Okay,
I was real biased. But yeah, so yeah,
okay.
that's all we got for today. I appreciate everybody coming through. Make sure y'all smash the like button on y'all way out. If y'all haven't already, make sure you smash the like button as you watch the replay. And we'll be back on Monday. It's your boy D Free, Crush, BVO Boxing, and we out.
Have a nice weekend. Peace.